This is my Compaq Proliant 3000 from 1999 and I bought it for 25 euros and I'm restoring it. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. If you want your circuit board design realized and printed, you should check out PCBWay. Starting prices as low as $5 for a 1 or 2 layer design with worldwide shipping. Place your order now, links in the description. So in the first video we just took a look and set it up and installed Windows 2000 Advanced Server and configured some RAID on the RAID controller that was already in the system. In the second video we took it completely apart for cleaning and then built up again, of course. And in the third video I upgraded the memory. My plan was 4 GB and that was kind of working, but not really. So there's now 3.5 GB of SD-RAM in this system. Probably more than enough, probably completely overkill. So my name is Victor Bart and welcome to Retro Machines. And in this video, part 4, it's already part 4, we're gonna take a look at SCSI RAID controllers because I bought way too many. Whoops! When I was by someone's home and I was shopping for the cards, I took a few out that I wanted to buy. Then I sent a message to Timmy in Sweden, and he also loves Compaq. Do you like to buy some cards? So I was thinking maybe he wants a few of them, and then he said buy them all. That's why I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 12 spare RAID controllers. But there's a reason why I need so many, because I need to figure out which one I want to use. And in the future I probably will have more Compaq machines and then I can directly upgrade it to a RAID controller that I like to have, because there are different generations and different speeds and different options. I found out that there's a limit on the drive arrays that you can make, and on the older cards that's only 500 GB. That's not much. And I have 300 GB SCSI drives in this system, and here are some more, and there will be more in the mail. So yeah, the older cards are not really doing it. So I need to upgrade. The current card in the system is the Compaq 2D8 and I bought 2 extra of them. And this is just an ultra wide SCSI RAID controller with an 86 pin inside and one outside, single channel, 16 MB memory with battery cache. So a basic 40 MB per second card. And this one has a limitation of 500 GB per array. But the funny thing is, there was already on this 4 drives a RAID 5 and it still detects them. So I now have still a 900 GB RAID 5 working on the older card, but I can't configure it on this card. So what I can do is probably configure the drives on a newer card and then put them back on this card. But this card is only 40 MB per second, so this is more the card for the early Proliant 3000, like the dual Pentium 2 on the 66 MHz frontside bus or a Pentium Pro system. So I'm not gonna use these cards in this system anymore probably, but it's just nice to have extra of them. And here is more the original card of the Proliant 3000, and this is the Smart Array 3200 with 64 MB of memory, also with battery backup. And the Smart Array 3200 is a dual channel card, 80 MB per second, so ultra 2 wide. And this one has also the bracket for 2 internal channels. And the other cards that I have, 3 pieces, have only a single 86 pin inside. They are all dual channel cards with the 2 ports outside, but only this one is also dual card internal. And this is the SCSI RAID controller that perfectly matches the Proliant 3000. And then I have this one, and this one is already a little bit more interesting because it's a quad ultra 2 wide card, so quad 80 MB per second. But this is a PCI 64 card, but can still be run probably in this system. And this one has also 64 megabyte of cache, the same cache module as the 3200s, so that makes it easy to swap out parts if I have broken like memory or broken batteries. And internal is this card dual channel, and external I can put like 4 drive units of 14 disks on it, so I can put 56 drives on a single card like this. That would be super cool and loud. So this is one of the options that I really want to try out in the machine, and I don't know if this also has the 500 gigabyte limitation, because it's not in the documentation. But maybe this card with the 56 disk support has a different limit. We need to figure it out. And then we have the more modern cards, and this is a dual channel Ultra 160. So this also PCI 64, probably also works in this machine. And I have 4 cards with only 32 megabyte of cache and also battery backup. And this variation you also have in a 64 megabyte version like this one, and a 128 and a 256. So I probably want to find a 256 cache module. And the nice thing about this card, if I get like a DL380 machine, this one will be probably the card that I will put in for the boot drives. It's a nice card, and for boot drives this is perfectly fine. So this is a card with 64 megabyte of memory, and here the cool block is missing, but I can get that from one of those cards. And these 5 cards are the Smart Array 5300, and this is the RAID controller that they developed for the machines after the Proliant 3000. And this one has like a 2 terabyte limit on the drive arrays, so I can easily configure the bigger 300 gigabyte drives, and also the 300 gigabyte drives are officially supported on this card. And some 5300s support also ADG, and that is just RAID 6 with 2 parity drives. I'm not sure if this card has it. Some cards had an upgrade for it, and so I need to figure that out. I really hope that it works, because I like to have 2 parity drives, to be honest. After the 5300s you get the Smart Array 6400, but that is not compatible with this machine with PCI 32-bit. Right now the boot array are 272 gigabytes 15,000 RPM in RAID 1, and I have 4 300 gigabytes in RAID 5, they are all 10,000 RPM, but I have some more 300 gigabytes. So this is already 1.2 terabyte. So let's put some more drives in it, so I can try out which limitations are there with making arrays. And my plan is to completely fill up this machine with 300 gigabytes SCSI drives. We have the old Compaq Smart Array 2DH now still in the system, with all the 300 gigabyte drives and the boot drives. And I will show you in Windows 2000 that RAID 5 is working. This is very nice. The Smart Array controller already detected 2 more logical drives, probably on the extra 300 gigs that I put in. The Compaq controllers can read like the old arrays and probably will switch them out over different controllers. And that is not true with all brands of SCSI RAID controllers. So this is pretty awesome. Let's go into Windows 2000. In the disk management we have disk 0, that's the boot drive. We have disk 1, that is the 4 300 gigabytes in RAID 5, which officially not supported on this controller, but it was already configured. And then here disk 2, that is probably just one of the single drives. And here disk 3 dynamic foreign, I never heard of that. Import foreign disks. Foreign disk sets 1 of 1 selected. Let's see what it does. Oh, spent volume, data incomplete. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. We have some things missing here, and this is just old crap which I gonna get rid of. Let's reboot and go into the Smart Start configuration and show you the limitations of the RAID controller. I put in the Smart Start CD to configure the RAID, because the utilities on the hard drive want to have a floppy and I didn't make the floppy. And on the CD all the complete tools are installed. Run array configuration utility. Okay, we can use the wizard, but I don't want to use the wizard. So we have array 1, the boot RAID 1. We have array B, the RAID 5 with 4 300 gigabytes. But if I delete this and want to make it again, it's impossible. And then we have here some array C and D, but we're gonna remove that. Delete logical drive. Yes, yes. Delete logical drive. Yes, yes, yes. View physical drives. So drive A is 2 drives. Array B is 4 drives, array C is 1 drive, and array D are 2 drives, and I'm missing a 300 gigabyte drive because I put 4 in them. Okay, there's something wrong with this drive because it's not flashing. Maybe it's broken, maybe not. We will see that later. I can do the demonstration also with 3 drives only. Okay, we have now 3 unused drives and 1 broken drive. Maybe I can swap it out with my spare drive. I gonna do that. I will be back. I swapped out a broken 300 gigabyte hard drive. So now we have 4 unassigned 300 gigabyte drives, just like this array. So let me show you on the old Smart 2DH controller what happens with 300 gigabyte drives. So we're going to create array and we're gonna add the 4 unused drives. Then we click done. We have now array C 1.2 terabyte unused space. And then we're gonna create a logical drive. Here we see RAID 5 distribution data carding and 500 gigabyte limitation, and not all the rest of the space. So also with RAID 1 plus 0, 500 gig, RAID 4, 500 gig, RAID 0, 500 gig. So I can't configure a RAID 5 with all the maximum space, but what I can do is make a RAID 5 of 500 gigabyte, done, and then we still have unused space, and then create logical drive and make a second RAID 5. So now we split it up, but as you can see here, if it's configured on a different controller, it's working also on this controller, so that's a limitation in the tools. So we're gonna swap out the RAID controller for the 3200 and the 4200 and then the 5300 later. The nice thing about the Compaq Proliant 3000 is that you don't need tools, because this clips. And I'm removing now 2 brackets because I just gonna install 2 extra RAID controllers, because we have 8 PCI slots and enough room. So this is the Smart Array 3200 with 64 megabyte dual channel that will go in this slot. And here there's also a plastic clip to hold up the long cards so they don't sag down over time. And then I also gonna install the quad port 4200 in the slot above it. Let's see, will that fit with the PCI 64 connector? Yes, there are no parts in the way. Okay, that looks pretty epic. Maybe I should make a video where I fill up all the slots with RAID controllers and see what the system thinks about that. We're gonna take the SCSI cable off the 2DH and we're gonna put it on the 3200. Let's power it up. Nice, a lot of lights. Let's see what happens. Slot 7. Smart Array 4200 initializing. And there's no SCSI cable on this one. So let's see how many things we get on the display of Smart Arrays. And what I really like is this is like a gray letter type, and then Compaq is in red and a Smart Array in white. It just makes it look so professional. It takes so long. Maybe the quad controller is now checking for 56 drives. Or there was like a big RAID array on it and it's trying to find it. Nice, it's finally done. Array controller failure. Slot 5, that's normal array, but the 3200 is not detected. So let's boot the Smart Start CD and install the new RAID controllers. Let's run the system configuration utility because we have some hardware changes. Okay, this is also taking forever. Why? Is there something wrong, or is maybe the 4200 just a bit of a card? So the current configuration takes way too long to configure in the Smart Start CD. So something is not right. I think I'm gonna take out the 4200 for now, because also in the BIOS screen it was just too slow with coming up. So yeah, the 4200 is now 1 point behind the rest. Okay, only the Smart 2DH is detected, but that's normal because the other one needs to be configured in the Smart Start CD. Okay, let's try it again. Run system configuration utility. Configuring hardware, please wait. Okay, your boot controller has been set to the Smart Array. Looks like the 3200 is not even detected. I'm gonna take out this 3200 and put one of the other 3200s in. Maybe this one is broken. And if this card is broken, I can take off this extra PCB, because that makes it the dual internal card. So I can still make this card into a dual internal card. Nice. We had a broken card, so this Smart Array 3200 is now detected. And I put the SCSI cable in it, so probably it will detect the new logical drives. And then those are compatible with each other to switch out drives. Two logical drives detected. Array accelerator configuration has automatically been updated. If the batteries are fully charged, the array accelerator will be enabled again. Array accelerator battery charge low. And now the following changes has automatically been made. Board added, slot 6 Compaq Smart Array 3200 controller, and the bus tree we have a PCMS storage controller. So that's probably also on the RAID controller, but not sure yet. The slot 5, the Smart Array 2DH, and it's now controller first, controller order. Let's go this one as the first one, and all kinds of changes will be made. The cache size is 56 megabyte. They're probably using like the other 8 megabytes for something else. Administrator information. I can put in my name and then it will show up on the display. The Smart Array 3200 is now the first controller, but it says the following SCSI drive should be replaced: SCSI port 1, SCSI ID 10, and it is giving a red light. So the 4 drives that were already in the system, maybe one is failing. So it's good that someone is sending me 11 300 gigabyte 10,000 RPM disks, so I have some spares. But let's just go into the Smart Start CD again and configure the other 4 300 gigabytes and see if it works on this controller. The Compaq Smart Array 3200 controller in slot 6 has a bad or missing drive attached to port 1 ID 10. And here we can select which controller we're gonna configure, so let's configure a different one. Is this whole array now crashed? Not sure. But let's focus on the 300 gigabytes. Maybe they are just not compatible with this card. Create logical drive. Also this one has a 500 gigabyte limitation. But on this card we can set the stripe size from, let's see, from 8 kilobyte to 64 kilobyte, and on the 2D8s that's not possible. Enable maximum boot partition. That doesn't help with a bigger array, because also on the 3200 500 gig limitation. So what I want to see now is if Windows 2000 will boot of this controller. Okay, it looks like the Smart Array 3200 drivers are in Windows 2000. Windows 2000 has finished installing new device. You must restart your computer before the new settings will take effect. Do you want to restart your computer now? No, because it's already booted of the Smart Array. SCSI and RAID controllers, Compaq Drive Array and Compaq Drive Array. And the SimBIOS logic is probably the onboard SCSI controller. So what did we found out so far? The 2DH is working fine in the system. It's a little bit slow, but it has a 500 gigabyte limit when making drive arrays. So that's not a good card for what I want to do. Then we have the 4200. That is acting up weird in the system. So not sure why. Maybe it's a broken card. Maybe, I don't know. This is 64-bit card and it's 32-bit slot. Maybe there's some voltage problem. Not sure. Then we have the 3200 card, dual channel, which broken probably. And a nice detail about the 3200 is to make it a dual channel card internal. It's just this daughterboard and I can take it off the card, and also I can take off the cache module of the card and put that as spare. I think it will be now time to focus on the 5300s, where I have 4 of them were 32 megabyte and 1 with 64 megabyte, and see what it does. But here is a heatsink missing, and let's just rip it off this card and put it on here, because I think it's just with a plastic clip. So let's open this clip. Okay. The little heatsink is off. Let's see if I can remove the plastic piece here. I found out that I can just slide it to the top of the card. The clip is off. This can go to the spare pile. And then we can just slide the clip over the chip here. Just be careful to not break things. Okay, that was not that hard. Put the heatsink back. Close the clips. Okay, this card has now good cooling on this chip. The batteries look fine on this card. 64 megabytes of cache. Oh, also this storage expansion slot doesn't have the bracket here. So we probably can take it off this card, because this one will be on the spare pile. Or I just sell it to Timmy because he doesn't know the cooling is missing. That would be super evil. Okay, this card is now ready to run. So we have two external ports here, two internal ports, 64 megabyte, and I hope this is the one that also supports RAID 6. So let's put this card in slot 7, and I will keep the 3200 in the system for now. We just gonna fill it up with more RAID controllers. And this is also a 64-bit card, so I hope this server supports the 3.3 volt for the card, but I'm not sure at this moment. Okay, the smart array 5300 controller is detected. Also a low battery error on the 5300 controller, and also this one sees the SCSI ID10 drive that is broken probably. Oh, this one also has an option ROM configuration. So maybe if we put this card in a different system, you can still configure it. And here we have the 3200 and the 2DH. Run array configuration utility. I really hope for the RAID 6. Otherwise I need to have one more Compaq RAID controller. 3 array controllers detected. Probably some red messages. Okay, no drives, no drives. The battery is a bit low voltage. Okay. Okay, that's a lot of messages. Probably now the broken drive. Oh, no. Let's see. The 4 300 gigs unused. The RAID 5. Is it back online, or is it just half broken? Not sure. Let's click on modify and see what that's support. You cannot modify it. Oh, it's rebuilding. Okay. Maybe I don't have broken drives, but just the controller switching was problematic. But we have here the Smart RAID 5300 controller in slot 7. Settings. Build priority high, expand priority high, 152 kilobytes of cache. We can put in how much we want to for read and write. Let's create an array with the 4 300 gigs. Okay. Array C is 1.2 terabyte. Create logical drive. And let's hope this card doesn't have a limitation. Okay, this is how it should be, because we now have the 900 gigabyte with the 4 drives and 1 parity, and if we go to RAID 0 we have 1.2 terabyte. But we don't have the advanced distribution data carding in this card, so this is the basic RAID 5 version, and the stripe size also can go to 64 kilobytes for big files or 8 kilobytes for small files. Okay, are you sure? Want to continue? You have requested a logical drive that's larger than 500 gigabytes. Some operating systems may not support logical drives of this size. Do you want to continue? Yes. Because Windows 2000 is working with the other array. Nice, we have now 2 arrays of RAID 5, but let's do something else. Currently rebuilding array B. Delete. We're gonna delete B and C and see what I can make. Outfit. Right, delete. Yes, yes. As long as I don't save it, it's probably not that destructive. Now we need to remove the arrays. Nice, we now have 8 300 gigabyte drives. That is 2.4 terabyte. Let's see what it does when I click create array. Let's select them all. because maybe this card also have a limitation. Okay, let's create a logical drive and see if this card also has a limitation. The RAID 5 is almost 2 terabyte, and here is like the RAID overhead. But if we go to RAID 0, it is just a 2 terabyte array. So I think this card has a 2 terabyte limitation. And we can set the stripe size from 8 kilobyte to 256 kilobyte. I don't think all the drives are completely used then. But let's see what it does. Okay, we have like 200 gigabyte unused space, and we can of course create a logical drive on there if we want. So we can still use it, but there's just a limitation of 2 terabytes. Still not enough for what I want to do. But I think almost all smart array controllers have that limitation. I just want too much of this system. But what I can do is like delete logical drive. If I create a logical drive, let's make 2 arrays of 1.2 terabyte. So create logical drive, but with the RAID overhead. I think my calculation is wrong. Oh, my calculation is wrong because I didn't took note of the RAID 5. So I think my calculation is just this. Oh, it must be 355. So I made now 2 RAID 5 logical drives. They are still 8 drives with RAID 5, but split it in half. Save configuration. Okay, only the battery error, but 3 logical drives. Let's see if Windows 2000 also has the drivers for the Smart Array 5300. So far so good. Okay. Yeah, there are no drivers in Windows 2000 for this controller. Whoops. But what we can do now, because we configured the RAID arrays on this card, just take the cable and put it on the 3200 and see if it copies the configuration. Oh, we have some kind of new ROM error, array controller EBDA already allocated. F1 to continue. Okay, there's something wrong and it's getting late now, so I'm gonna turn off the server for today, and tomorrow I will continue playing around with this configuration. It's a few days later now, but let's continue on the Compaq Proliant 3000 with the SCSI RAID controllers. The Windows 2000 installation is broken, so I need to reinstall it, and I made a Smart Array 5300 driver for NT4 2000, NetWare 4.2 and 5.x. So let's show you the first part of the Windows 2000 installation, and that you can use a floppy to load the drivers, and then I will skip to Windows and show you the RAID setup in Windows and see if there are any limitations with the arrays in Windows 2000 itself. Okay, 3 Windows 2000 Advanced Server. Oh, F6 to load the driver. Okay, no hard drives are now detected, but we can specify additional device. Please insert your driver disk. So it's now reading. So we are gonna install the Compaq Smart Array 53XX controller for Windows 2000. And the controller is now detected. Okay, welcome to the setup. Examining drive. The drives are now detected. Searching for previous versions of Windows. Maybe we can fix this installation. Maybe I need to reinstall it. If one of the following Windows 2000 installations is damaged, setup can try to repair it. Let's try it. If it can repair this Windows 2000 server by just putting the right driver into the system, So yeah, this is interesting to see if it actually works. I never tried a repair. Normally it's just better to reinstall it, but it is just a test Windows 2000 installation, so I can play with it and see what it does. Windows 2000 is now copying files and no error, so I have high hopes that the installation repair will work. So let's see you back in Windows, or if there's an error that occurs, and I will restart the installation. The front display gives an alert. Press any key to view new events. Let's see, a caution. Post error, drive array not configured. Is it all that you want to tell me? Admin info. Administrator. Hey, Victor Bart. But it feels super slow, so not sure what's wrong. Maybe the RAID controller is too busy with rebuilding the RAID arrays. I never seen such a slow Windows 2000 boot up. It took forever, like 1.5 hours, but the Windows 2000 repair is done. And I think the RAID controller is super slow because the battery backup of the RAID controller is broken. So I think I can fix that. And right now it's also rebuilding the arrays, so that makes it super slow. But we are now in Windows 2000 and all the data is still here. The system is really super slow. But let's go to the disk management, and here we can already see 2 arrays of 1 terabyte. Okay, we have now 2 arrays of 1.05 terabyte. So what I gonna do is create volume and then a striped volume, and then we add disk 2, and they are on the same disk and the same controller. And let's see, do we have a 2 terabyte limit in Windows 2000? It looks like we have one. Let's see what it does. Quick format, otherwise it will take forever. While it's formatting, let's put the Smart Start CD in the drive and see if there are any tools we can install. Install Compaq Support Pack or create support software. So here we can make diskettes, probably for drivers and stuff like that. Let's see what it does. Okay, the Compaq Array Configuration Utility, IBM Token Ring, Compaq Fiber, all kinds of Compaq diskettes that we can make, firmware upgrade. So let's install the Compaq tools and see what we can do with it. Maybe there's some fan management software on the CD. This program will install the latest available version of the support pack. Nice, it's installing all kinds of hardware drivers also. So we have now a new volume of 1.9 terabytes on a dual Pentium 3 500. That's a really big array. But I don't think it's using all the available space. I think Windows 2000 has a 2 terabyte limit per volume. So my plan to fill it up with all 300 gigs in one array, like a 3 terabyte array, is not going to work. So the tools are installed. So we have the Compaq Array Configuration Utility now just on the desktop. So we don't have to go into the Smart Start to check the hard drives. Only the battery is probably causing the slow response of the machine, because it turned off the caching, and the rebuilding of array B, logical drive 2, is only 5% after a few hours. So I need to fix that. But we can at least configure it from Windows. And let's see what else we have. This machine does not have an intelligent power switch, but we can probably power down other systems over the network. Power supply viewer. That's interesting if that is working. This machine does not have an intelligent power subsystem. And this is the front panel utility. Administrator name Victor Bart. Oh, idle screen. Oh, we can put CPU utilization on it and memory utilization, processor type. Let's see if that works. Do we need to put add, maybe save? Oh, cool! CPU 0%, MEM 0%, oh now 2 and 1% Intel P6 family. It's working! That's awesome. I need to play more with this tool. And a log viewer and latch report configuration, but no tool for the sound of the system, so maybe I need to download it separate. But first let's fix the RAID controller and the cache. So what I found out is, if we remove the memory module on the 5300, which is pretty easy, we have two batteries on here. The nice thing is, there's a little clip here and we can take them off. So we can easily replace them without soldering, without tools. So this is also the card where I removed the cool block. So this will be my spares for the other card. So let's remove the 5300 from the server. And I cannot simply swap out that memory module for this one, because this one is a 64 megabyte module. And let's see. Yeah, the same numbers. So we have a left pack and a right pack, and all are revision A. So let's remove one of the packs here. Let's put spares there. And put my volt meter. 5.1 volt. So this one looks fine. Oh, and this pack is 3.9. So what I think is that this pack is just degraded and gives the problems. And this pack is still working fine. So let's put this away, and this is the right pack. So we have here the right pack from the other card. Is there some voltage left? Yeah, like nothing. So let's put it on the card and test it out again. Okay, that was pretty easy to replace. And I didn't swap out this cable for like the faster SCSI cables, and it looks like this cable is perfectly working fine with higher speed cards. Array accelerator self-test error occurred. Array accelerator is disabled, but still 3 logical drives. So let's go into Windows 2000. There's something wrong, because it's now 10 minutes on this screen and also an array error again. So yeah, try rebooting it. The hardware RAID setup turned into like a little nightmare, with now Windows 2000 not booting and errors, and I don't know what's wrong now. And this is the problem with hardware RAID back in the days. It was just nightmares sometimes. That's why we now have ZFS and software RAID and stuff like that. That is so much more easy and reliable. So let's take this controller completely out, because I really need to figure out the battery system on here. And let's just take a new, let's see, where do I have them? Oh, here, let's just put this 5300 in. This is just 32 megabyte with batteries and heatsink. Just have a different card, because we have a lot of problems with 5300 with 64 megabyte stick. The Smart Array 530232 controller is detected with 3 logical drives, so probably this card is a little bit newer than a 64 megabyte card. Array accelerator memory size change detected. Array accelerator configuration has been updated. Array accelerator battery charge low. So normal low battery error and no other errors. So let's see if Windows 2000 now will boot. Okay, this is still super slow. Okay, Windows 2000 is working again with a different RAID controller, but still super slow. It's just not responding. I think I'm gonna delete the array of all the 300 gigs. And it's not that the CPU is in use or the memory. So we have 63 megabytes memory in use and 2% of the CPUs. It's just a RAID controller that's super slow right now. And Unky Joe from Unky Joe's Playhouse had a really great idea to call the server. So let's rename the server to Tank. And that's really a 90s name, like, yeah, it's a tank of a server. So thank you, Unky Joe, for the great name for the server. You must reboot the computer. Okay. Let's check the array configuration utility. Let's go to the 5300 controller. Wait, did the rebuild restart? It's now 0%. This is just one big RAID nightmare. Let's see what I can do about that. Delete array. Yes, yes, go away from my system. Nice, we now have 8 300 gigs unconfigured and just a normal RAID 1/0. So, yes. Let's see if the system now will be much faster. Yeah, unplugged, that's normal. Okay. Let's restart. Now we have like a speedy Windows 2000 again. Windows 2000 is now much faster again and responsive. So yeah, the RAID controller rebuild was the big issue. So not sure if it's really wise to have so many 300 gigs in here. And I think what I also want is have the boot drives separate from the big storage array. So I want to see if I can find a unit that can go in here and where I can put 2 hot swap drives in. So I can separate the boot drives from the data drives and probably just use 2 RAID controllers in this system. Let's do a benchmark. Okay, this is pretty decent. 75 megabytes per second, but it's just on a normal PCI bus. And the controller is Ultra 160. The cable is just ultra wide, so only 40 megabytes per second. And the backplane, I think it's 80 megabytes per second, but not sure to be honest. But at least it is a pretty good performance for the boot drives. It's a few months later now, so this video took a really long time, and as you can see, it's now just sitting here with some boxes on top, and I didn't do anything with this machine for a while. And this video took ages to film and to edit, and I got so bored with it, but I will just upload what I have shot because I think it's still interesting to see all the limits with the RAID controllers, with Windows 2000, and that my plan with 10 300 gigabyte 10,000 RPM SCSI drives is probably not the best plan for this old machine with all the limitations. Maybe if I just put all the hard drives on a normal SCSI controller, install Linux, I will probably have it working with software RAID. I like the hardware RAID options with the controllers, so yeah, I think I will just use the Compaq Smart RAID 3200 in the machine, and then with probably smaller hard drives and just in a later video I will continue with this machine, but not with a big storage array. I think it's just too much. I have two machines that are in Switzerland right now that I want to pick up, but I'm still waiting for my second vaccination, and then maybe later this year I can drive through there and pick them up. So maybe I can put the 300 gigs in those machines, but they have, I think, 2 and 4 drive bays. So it's different machines, also dual Pentium 3s. One is even with 2 machines in a cluster. Yeah, that would be an interesting video. So yeah, I think the 3200 smart array is just a perfect RAID controller for this machine, just on 32-bit PCI bus, 2 channels, ultra 2 wide. It's plenty enough because I have a limitation on the PCI bus. I will continue with this machine in some videos, but not about RAID controllers anymore. I'm so done with it. And also the newer RAID controllers, the 5300s, have a lot of problems with the battery cache and error, so I probably need to restore some batteries, maybe super caps on it, something like that. So I better can keep them out of the machine and use the 3200, because that didn't give an error with the batteries. Maybe the batteries are dead, but I don't give that much about the data on this machine, because it's just to play with. And it's easy to back up to my file server, because my file server has many terabytes. And it was only 3 terabyte maximum capacity. The conclusion of this video is, hardware RAID is a bitch. On the Compaq controllers it really worked well with swapping the arrays from one controller to another. They really made it that it picks it up. That's not true with all hardware SCSI RAID controllers, so that's a big plus. But the battery cache is just one big nightmare, and the limitations is also a nightmare. I think we are very lucky now with ZFS and other software RAID solutions, so we don't have to deal with any hardware RAID controllers, cache modules, battery backup that can fail. So yeah, it's much more flexible with software RAID, and the new computers nowadays are so much more powerful than the old Pentium 3s, so it can easily handle all the tasks with all the storage. If you like to support me, you can support me monthly on Patreon and get access to my awesome Discord server, or use my Amazon affiliated links. Thanks for watching.